What is up, everybody? This is Recap Rewind. I'm J-Lag.
And I'm NB.
And this episode is recapping and reviewing Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, Season 3, Episode 4. And it's called Chapter 24, The Hare Moon.
And don't forget, guys, stick around for the ending because we are going to go through our recap roundups, our best moments, our best lines of the episode. So be sure to stick around for that.
We also have a contest going on right now for a chance to win a $50 Amazon gift card and a pop socket. To enter, all you need to do is rate and comment on our iTunes page and you'll be entered in the draw. We are extending this contest to the end of Riverdale Season 4, so just keep an eye out for that. But you have lots of time to apply. As always, to our continuing listeners and our brand new ones, thank you for joining us. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Let's get into the episode, y'all.
Okay. There's a lot to discuss in this one.
Yeah, this was a
Crazy.
quite an episode. Very scurry.
It's been a ride. You know what I mean? Like, they are
yeah.
taking me for a ride this season.
Yeah, for sure.
And hopefully it doesn't break down. And
yeah,
hopefully it's great.
We're like, fingers crossed, nothing goes terribly awful.
No, it was a really good episode. What did you think?
I thought it was great. It was giving me so many different vibes. It was giving me horror movie vibes. I was so scared at one point. I'm like, and I'm not usually the type of person to be creeped out, especially by a show that's kind of directed for like teen watching. But this episode was very eerie. It gave me like horror, like a lot of movies that I've watched recently, that kind of vibe, like the masks and all that kind of stuff, satanic rituals and stuff. So, yeah, I really like this episode, and it's creating a brand new villain, I guess, for the whole group, and it's making the world bigger. You know what I mean? Like, it's not kind of maintaining within Greendale,
sure.
because this
and
whole
I kind of like that.
Yeah, I love it. I didn't know how they were going to expand after season 2, but season 3 having this brand new villain and being this big villain, very exciting stuff.
For sure. I think there's only so much you can write when you're internally fighting with like your coven or whatever.
For sure.
But to have like an external force coming and like making everyone else work together and band together to like, you know, fight this bigger power, it's cool to see.
And surprisingly enough, as much as there's one central storyline kind of happening to everybody, but there's also this overarching one that's happening with Sabrina being the Queen of Hell at the same time. So a part of me is like, are they going to merge them together at some point? Are they going to always be separate? But like, it's pretty crazy to think that they have these two major plot lines running at the same time. And they haven't felt like, oh, I got to get back to like, what's the hell storyline? Where, you know how you feel that urgency sometimes to get to the other plot points? This doesn't feel like anything's forgotten. Like, it doesn't feel like they really paced it out really well so far. So just to start it off, Harvey and Roz are just like making out at Harvey's place. They're like getting it on, but they're not like having
fully
sex.
There.
Yeah. But Roz does say, like, is it time to like have sexy times with you?
Yeah, I feel like at this point they're just prolonging it. Like, I don't know why they're dragging this story out.
I mean, I think it's more just we're supposed to follow the characters and the time that they're ready to do it. I don't think it's going to be centralized around a certain plot point per se. But that being said, like, there could be they could be waiting because they want to recreate the love triangle between Harvey, Sabrina, and Nick, right? Like, that whole thing might come back around, and then cause a little bit more tension. But other than that, yeah, she's like, let's have sex, and Harvey's like, okay. And while she's like leaving, I think, the house, because they plan an actual time, they're like, how about this day? You see this kind of like weird plant shadow passing the window. And then it cuts to Nick at school, and he's kind of just getting himself ready for the day. And he's taking these like drops, like he's putting these drops in his mouth, or he's about to. And Sabrina kind of astral projects inside of his room and invites him to a rally, like a school rally. And as she leaves, he decides to like chug the whole thing. So what are we to assume? Because it never really comes back around. What are we to assume that was? Was it drugs?
I don't know. Like, I'm thinking it's like drugs. Yeah.
Like,
just because he's hiding it from her, right? So
he's like numbing himself or something.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. He went from like taking little drops to like chugging the whole fucking
Yeah,
bottle.
he's like, fuck this.
I was like, God damn. So anyway, so that happens right in the beginning of the episode. Then it cuts back to Harvey's place, and the dad and Harvey are eating. And this is when the snake charmer from the carnival comes down as well in his mom's robe, of all things to be wearing. So
savage.
I was like this.
So fucking savage.
She has zero chill. And obviously Harvey doesn't go in on his dad because his dad's like, whatever, I'm an adult. But he's also just very shocked that this woman is just kind of like hanging out in their house. The one thing that I will say, that this scene ends kind of weird where the dad leaves before Harvey leaves. So Harvey and this mystery woman are kind of left talking to each other. I'm like, that would never happen in real life. Like, no one would just leave.
Yeah,
like,
his dad's like a weirdo. I almost felt like the
Yeah.
dad must have been like under a spell, because like he wasn't thinking logically. Like, how are you
True.
gonna let this bitch like wear your dead wife's like freaking, or is she dead or is she alive?
I
Or
guess
we don't
she's
even
dead.
know.
Yeah. I guess we're assuming that she's
But
not
anyways,
around.
she's like a sex god or whatever she is.
Right.
So everyone's like obviously like horny around her.
Right. So anyway, Harvey just leaves. She stays at the house. I was like, that also is weird. I'm like, you would never let a fucking stranger just stay in your house when you go to school. But anyway, they cut to Sabrina's house and they talk about the Hare moon. And the one thing that I will say, because we did rag on them, we ragged on them in the past about this specific situation where they bring up something from Wiccan past, like a tradition or an occasion, and it seems like Sabrina's just learning about it for the first time ever. But this time, they made it seem like the Hare moon was something that she had done like from time. She's like, they do it every single year. And so she does approach it saying like, oh, are we doing that again this year? Like, why are we doing that? And that's always what we wanted, because we didn't want it to be so expositional where you're like, well, the Hare moon
Everything
is
the
this,
first
and this.
time for her.
Exactly. This doesn't
It's
seem
just
like
weird that we've never seen that at 3 seasons in. It's like, damn, you guys never even showed us this whole thing yet.
Yeah, but I guess like they have to space it out, and it made
I'll
sense
buy
for
it.
this episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what they have to do, or what they want to do for this year, because they're losing their powers, is actually celebrate it properly and try to pray for their powers to come back somehow.
Yeah.
And
at this point, they're like desperado. Like they're like,
yeah.
we need to do fucking anything
Yeah.
to like get our powers back.
The Hare moon doesn't sound like an Easter for them. It seems like some like some side situation for them. So apparently the youngest of the Coven has to go into the woods with the rabbit and like release it. And Sabrina's like, okay, whatever, sure, sounds good. So that's what happens there. So you kind of get the tea on what the Hare moon is and what they're gonna do. Then it cuts to school, and Wardwell, like the real Miss Wardwell, is in her office, and the mom from last episode comes in. And I was really proud of this because the writers are following through with these broken storylines that would happen sometimes.
For sure.
They literally maintain the fact that she helped this girl, or I guess Miss Satan.
Like the mom comes back, right? And the mom's like, oh, thank you for like helping my daughter. You like brought her home. And she was like, what? She's like, what are you talking about? She's like, yeah, you saved my daughter. And like, yeah, it was a really cool kind of circling back to that storyline that we saw, what, like 3 episodes ago or like 2 episodes ago?
Yeah.
And so like, what's going to happen now? Now the real Wardwell's going to be like, what the F is going on? Why am I forgetting so much?
Yeah, she's like, why do people remember me for certain things and I don't remember shit? So she's like going crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm so interested to see where this is all gonna lead, because they're obviously keeping her around for a reason.
For sure. And like, how much is she gonna uncover on her own? Like, she's just a mortal. So it's like, what is she gonna learn? You know? And
I think to your point, I think you mentioned it last episode as well, is like, what is the significance of her having like personal growth and development as a character? Like, outside of her discovering the fact that she was possessed for a full season, what is she gonna add to the story? You know what I mean? So it'll be interesting what they do with her. Anyway, at the library, the crew's hanging out. They're all waiting around to kind of just like start their day and get ready for the rally. And Sabrina uses this really cool magic trick where she writes something on her hand and it goes onto Nick's hand. And it's like, she's like, where are you? Cool. but he's at Dorian's and he's drinking his face off because he's depressed. And so she's kind of like looking for him before the rally. And the rest of them, Theo, Harvey, and Roz, start talking about the snake charmer and how she's kind of weird. And so they kind of conjure up a plan to check out the carnival and see what's going on there. So they're going to do that mission on the side. And this is when Hilda comes in and she says, Sabrina, you have to come with me. There's like an emergency situation. And so she leaves with Hilda. So then it cuts to Ambrose, and he's talking about kind of like the history of this particular situation that they're in right now, the fact that they're losing their powers. And it does have to do, from what he read, it does have to do with the fact that Satan has the ability to give and take power. Mm-hmm. And because he's no longer being worshipped, he has the ability to take all of their powers away. So
I did really like this because we've been saying that he's kind of been like low key, like they put him in a freaking, room, shut the door, and that was it. And I was like, okay, but like he's not even that strong. Like he's the motherfucking devil. Like, come on. Right. So I think this for me was like, it answered all my questions. It fulfilled that hole that I was like, guys, come on. He's clearly still controlling them and is able to like kind of throttle on their powers. So
exactly.
I like that.
Yeah, I did love the fact that they brought that back around. And it does show that, yeah, you're right. Like, he's not around here, like, killing people left, right, and center, but he's doing things that are pretty powerful. Like, he's literally taking their powers away.
Which is how it should be. He's the devil, right? So.
Right. So they go visit him in his cell, and they're like, yo, it's all your fault that we're losing power. And he does say, like, I told you that this was not a good idea. You should let me go free. So he does try to get them to set him free. So he says, you have to let me go. And then he spills the beans about the fact that Sabrina is the queen of hell. And that's when
they're like, what?
What the fuck? And I was like, how did this girl get away with not telling her?
I know.
Aunts? I have no idea. So they're just pissed.
And like, why not? Like, when she came clean about having her dad in the basement, just say everything. Like, just say, BT Dubs, like, I'm also the queen of hell. Like, just say it all. Because they're going to find out.
Exactly. And I just want to know how that actual conversation went. So she's like, so you went to go get Nick and that was the end of it? And she's like, yeah, that's it. Totally nothing else happened. Yeah. I'm like, you didn't ask any more questions about how this all happened?
And that's the thing, too. Down? Like, the aunties, too, are very, like...
naive.
They're very naive. Like, they don't ask questions, and I guess it's because, like, also the Coven's, like, dying. So, like, they're also really busy and stressed about that.
Yeah,
but I feel like they've always been very, like, naive towards Sabrina, and they don't ask the right questions.
For sure.
Whereas Wardwell's, like, on her ass about everything,
100%. So as they're leaving the basement or the dungeons, you see Nick kind of, like, lurking in the corner. But we'll get back to that in a second. So they're upstairs and they're just yelling. They're going in on Sabrina. They're like, what the hell? What's wrong with you? But now Sabrina's trying to kind of come up with an idea to see if the fact that she is queen of hell, maybe that can help the Coven. Maybe she can find the power that Satan has and get it from hell and then bring it back to the Coven. And I was like, first of all, how come she never thought about this, like, from the get-go, to be like, by the way, Ants, I'm queen of hell and I got some power, so don't worry about it. You know what I mean? Like, she could have figured the situation out and made everybody happy, but she doesn't. But anyway, so they're trying to figure out who to go to, what to do, how to deal with this. And she goes, let's ask Lilith. She knows everything. And this ants say, you need to take Ambrose with you because you are Wattless and, like, you don't know what the hell's going on with your life.
Yeah.
Then it cuts to Nick and the Dark Lord, and he gets into the room and he's just, like, obsessed / like, he just hates him. He hates the Dark Lord and he punches him in the face. But it keeps switching back and forth between the Dark Lord and then it goes back to our guy Blackwood.
So he's basically physically hurting Blackwood. Because, like, the actual devil doesn't actually exist physically, right? Like, so, again, like, really cool sequence. The editing was super quick, super fast. And it's really trippy.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, it almost trips him out too. He's like, what? Like, he's almost like taken aback. Like, oh yeah, I'm not really fighting like the devil, you know?
Exactly. So that whole sequence happens. Obviously, Satan's taunting him the entire time, and Nick is just getting pissed, more and more pissed.
It's really sad because like he's unraveling so quickly, and like no one has time for him. Like everyone is way too busy with the Coven and like the fact that they're falling apart, and he's just sort of dwindling like on the sidelines.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really sad to watch because like he was so strong and so confident and sexy last season. But he's like a mess this season. And I don't blame him, obviously, but it's just sad to watch.
I think also on top of that, though, like to everybody else's defense, he's not really opening up about it either. Like Sabrina has tried to confront him and say like, you know, you want to talk about it? Do you want to talk about it? And he just keeps saying like, no, I've just been through some dark shit. I'm getting through it, whatever. But he's obviously not dealing with it properly. Yeah. So anyway, it cuts to the carnival and Roz gets in there and right away she's like, I gotta go and find something so I can cunt. I need to cunt everywhere and figure out this mystery. But the one part that I will say was a bit of a miss in terms of the humans not sharing information properly. Yeah. And you did make a really, really good point about Roz and her cunning and her seeing the fawn from last episode. And again, this episode, she's back at the carnival and there's now Harvey saying there's something weird going on. She doesn't even mention it. Yeah, she
doesn't say that. Like, why?
She doesn't even say like, yeah, you know what's really weird? I thought I saw something and I just didn't say anything because I thought I was just seeing something.
Maybe she like internalizes it and that's why she chooses to go into the tent because she's like, I'll protect my regular friends and I'll go in and do it.
Right.
But again, I think she should have played it differently. I think she should have told Sabrina, look, something's going on, something like magical, obviously. Yeah. Let's go about it a different way. Like, I feel like they planned it so wrong and so poorly.
For sure. I think that
like they got so like confident in themselves, I guess. They're like, yeah, we can do anything now. Yeah. But no, you guys can't.
But I think it's not only that, to your point, I think just because of the fact that she has the cunning and she can try to figure things out, she's also like, I don't know. I feel like yes, I think you're right. She just wants to kind of figure things out on her own. And I think that she is probably trying to hide things a little bit. And I mean, by the end of the episode, she does get some sort of like, it comes all on her, literally. Like she turns into stone by the end of the episode.
She's like all crusty and like, yeah.
Yeah. So by the end of this episode, the fact that she doesn't act on that information, like it goes back to her anyway. So like maybe that's her karma or whatever. Anyway, while she is in the tent, she goes inside like the snake lady's tent and the snake lady kind of pops up out of nowhere, out of this basket. And she's like, you're the sex obsessed seer. And I was like, is she sex obsessed? I was like, I didn't realize that was a part of Roz's storyline.
Yeah.
But I guess it is. And so she leaves, and because Harvey and Theo are waiting outside the thing, she screams and she runs out. And at the same time, the ringleader / like the fawn man comes by and is like, you guys can't be here. So they leave, and already something happened inside the tent, but they're not really sure. You don't see it on screen either. Yeah. You just hear a scream, and then like Roz is like, oh, she like runs out. And when they leave, that's when Robin kind of slides in, and you find out that that's the reason why they knew that they were coming to the carnival.
Because he tells them. Oh, yeah,
because he told them. Then it cuts to Nick and the Dark Lord again. And again, he's like taunting him. He's saying all this stuff. And he says more specifically, there will always be a piece of me inside of you, which was kind of funny because I was like, yeah, that's just like
sexual.
It was sexual. But yes. So he leaves and he's like, fuck you. I hate you. I don't want you part of my life. So Nick leaves, but then Satan and Blackwood kind of have a bit of a conversation with each other where they say, don't worry, the next time he comes back, I'll have something that will be able to control him and tell him to do anything that we want him to do. So at that point, you're like, what is it? What are they going to do and give him?
And like, why though? You know, like why?
I mean, I guess because they have him as the ability to like extract him out, it made sense to me, mostly because like I think he's vulnerable and he's emotional about this whole situation too, so he's an easy target. Then it cuts to hell, and Lilith, Ambrose, and Sabrina are hanging out. Ambrose is losing his mind because he's like, yo, I'm in hell, this is amazing. And so Sabrina cuts right to the chase, and she says, I need like some sort of battery, a version of a battery, so I can bring it back to my coven because we're running out of power. And Lilith just tells her right off the top, she's like, that's not how this works. There's no like eternal flame that's burning in hell that you can just pull from. The power that your dad has that gave that power to your coven comes from within his body, because he's a fallen angel. Mm-hmm. And so Sabrina's like, oh, and she does ask the question. She's like, does that mean that my blood has that ability as well? And she's like, that's not how it works because you're half human. It's not the same. So Sabrina decides that what they have to do is get another angel and take their blood. Yeah. So they just have to find another angel. Then it cuts to Hilda and Zelda, and it's really cute, but also like I felt so bad for Zelda because Hilda, and I mean I feel bad for both of them because it's just a funny scene. So Zelda's just getting cheesed, and I do like the fact that she brought this up. She's like, why did Sabrina feel like she needed to lie about this again? I feel so betrayed by her. And it was cool to see how the ants were reacting to the betrayal, basically, of Sabrina. Mm-hmm. They're not just like letting her let it slide. For sure. Like they're actually affected by it. And so she's like, I can't believe people are lying all around me. And this is when Hilda's like, well, what happened was this last episode, I got engaged. So she had to tell her.
Their dynamic is still weird to me because it's like, why is she afraid to tell her sister that she got engaged? You know, it's just so funny that they still have this sort of pettiness, but also a little bit of jealousy. Like, when are they ever gonna get to a point where like they're totally open and they're like, yo, like I got engaged, like I'm happy for you know what I mean? Like it was so weird to me that they're still on that page of like, oh my god, she's not gonna be happy for me, you know?
Right. I don't know if I think it's just like sibling situations. Sometimes you just don't want to like. It seems that Zelda's obviously taken like the older sister role, so she always thinks that Hilda's an idiot and a fuck up, and so that's true. She's like, well, you're irresponsible. I need to take care of this coven. Who else is going to take care of this coven? So she puts a lot of pressure on herself to like succeed, and she looks at Hilda and she's like, I just need your help, so just do whatever I say. And Hilda's now like, I'm getting married, so like I'm not going to be here for a little bit of time. Yeah. So when she says that, Zelda takes this information and so she's like, so you're gonna be getting married, okay? And then she's like, so you're deserting me, okay? Like you're leaving me, and you're leaving me just like Sabrina's leaving me too. And so she loses her mind on Hilda. Were you shocked by her reaction, or were you like, yeah, that sounds about right?
That's their relationship, right? Like, yeah. I mean, I wish she was like happy for her.
But she won't.
She wasn't. I mean, Hilda literally like spent a day not telling her sister that she got engaged. Like that's pretty sad.
Yeah, that's pretty sad that they don't have that kind of relationship. She doesn't feel like she can come to her with that kind of stuff.
But I obviously think it's gonna play into, you know, their relationship in the future. And what does their relationship look like when one of them is married? What does it look like when one of them has a family and they aren't living together under the same roof? Like, what does that mean for their fam and like probably the coven too, right?
Yeah. No, that's a really good point. And I'm sure we're gonna see that development
for sure. As they will explore that. Yeah.
Cutting to Dorian's, they go and visit him, and because they find out that like he has an angel from the time that they were attacked last season. There was one that was like saved or captured and put into a painting. But just as a quick aside, his pimple is like getting worse and it's like disgusting.
Oh my god, like, guys, by the way, thank you guys so much for your pimple recommendations on Instagram. Like, you guys were so lit in the comments, and you guys gave us some really good tips if we ever come into that problem. But also, I forwarded to the actor that plays that plays Dorian. I'm like, yo, here's some tips with your big ass pimple. So I wonder what's the significance of it though. Like, why is it still there?
There has to be something there because it's spreading, right? Like, it's not the same like one singular pimple from last episode. It's like it's like multiplying around his skin now. So it must be more than that, and maybe it has to do with the fact that everybody is losing their powers.
They're sick. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he part of their coven though?
No, not really. So maybe it has to do with the old gods. Like, I don't know. Like, maybe it just has to do, or maybe it just has to do with the fact that everything's out of balance right now, right? Like hell and earth. Ooh, and
I wonder if it's because like the men are sick, you know? Because like the devil was a man. Yeah. And like he's been sick. Like Blackwood's like whatever, like Dunzo. Yeah. But then like Nick's like sick. And then like freaking Dorian with his pimple. Like the men are just not having a good time. Everyone except for Ambrose. Like Ambrose has been on point lately.
That's true. That could be a good point. I wonder if that is. I mean, we do know that there is some connection to like the Dark Lord and what's going on. So yeah, that's a good theory. So then it cuts to Harvey, Theo, and Roz, and they're getting back to, I guess, the garage. And Roz is looking not so great. She's shivering and she like is freaking out. She can't even really speak. And so they lie her down on the couch and they're like, what happened in there? And she's like, buh. And then she's like, Sabrina. And then that's it. Like, that's all she can say because she's shivering so much. And then Theo and Harvey are like, yeah, of course. We need to go to Sabrina right now. And my thing is like, why don't you guys go to her right away instead of bringing her to a fucking garage? Like, they should have just brought her, because that's happened in the past where Harvey's literally like busted a door down being like, yo, something's going on in the human world. Like, you need to come through right now. But anyway, whatever. They just, they're like, we need to go find Sabrina now. So that's going to happen next. Then it cuts to Dorian's. And Sabrina and Dorian are now like drawing the blood out of this unconscious angel. And she even said, she's like, don't pull too much too fast. We don't want to kill him. We might need some for later. So just kind of like have this like steady drip going. And Dorian's already kind of like literally thirsty for it. He's like, angel blood, so delicious, yummy. And she's like, don't touch the blood. Like, this is for my coven and whatever. So she's just watching him at this point. Then it cuts to the Spellman household, and Harvey now like jumps in and he's like, yo, where's Sabrina? We need her help. Something's happening with Roz. And Hilda right away is like, there's nothing that she couldn't do anyway because we're all out of powers.
Which I don't believe. I still don't believe that would be her honest answer. Like, you would want to go see the girl first. Let me see what her situation is. Like, is it really bad? Can I do something? Or do I know about like, how does she just turn to him and say, sorry, bro, I can't help you. Like, we're all dried out. Here's a blanket, by the way.
Use like
it was
a spell
such a
book.
weird response. Yeah.
Or like use a herb or like a plant or like there had to be something.
Like, at least like look at her and see, like assess it. And then say like, oh my God, no, like we can't do this right now. Like, you know, it was such a weird answer. It was like, I'm like, guys, you guys are so rude.
And on top of that, she goes like, sorry, I can't help it. Like, here's a blanket. Like, maybe it'll keep her warm.
I'm like, is she being serious? Like, or is she being sarcastic? Like, what the fuck's wrong with her?
They could have at least said like, this is like a magical blanket.
That's what I thought it was.
Forever be warm or something. She's like, here, take
I thought it was like those plug-in blankets that you plug in and like it heats up.
Yeah, the heated blankets. Anyway, so he takes it, then he dips. So then it comes back to Dorian's, and Sabrina's just like watching this, the blood getting drained, and she starts hearing like whipping, like someone getting like, hurt in the back.
Yeah, love whipping. Yes, hit me, ma. And I'm like, oh Jesus, no, Sabrina, you better leave that place right now.
Just grab that blood and go.
She doesn't do that.
She turns the corner.
Which is weird because, like, she knows he has a bar. She knows he's kind of scandalous. Like, why are you going and, like, looking? Like, it could be a sex, like, dungeon. Like, what's it to you? Like, just wait for your freaking blood to be poured out and go home.
I know.
She's like, what's going on over here? Someone sounds like they're getting in trouble.
Yeah, let me go save them. Yeah. So she goes in, and of course, it's fucking Nick doing like 50 Shades of Grey Part 3 or whatever.
With like demons.
Like and they're all like sexing him up, and he's chained up, and he's got a mask on. And he's like, And she's like,
She's like, oh my God.
She's like, my boyfriend is so sexy.
And then she's like, ah! And then she like runs out. She's like, I need my blood.
And he's like, Sabrina, no.
I was like, don't even bother because this is over. Like,
over.
don't just stay in there and enjoy the rest because
she
ain't gonna take you back.
I never wanted you to see this out of me. Like, he was so sad. So
I'm like, yeah.
And you always have to think about how awkward that situation is. He's like, get me out of these handcuffs. Get my shirt on.
That's what I mean. I'm like, don't even bother because it's too late. Like, no.
So she's like very confused and she's very hurt. So she rushes out. But as she's about to go grab the blood, in the 2 seconds that she's been away,
what a fucking useless guy.
Fucking Dorian drinks all of the blood and leaves like a little vial. And the thing that killed me the most was the fact that he was so drunk off of the blood, but he was like, but I kept you this tiny little vial.
I know.
I
thought the same thing. I'm like, you went to the effort of literally chugging the shit out of that, but you put it into like a cute little vial with like a little lid on it. Cute. Did you label it too with your label maker in the back? Like,
exactly. I was like, bitch, you had that all planned from the very beginning.
It would have been better if like, he just didn't have any. Like, he just was like, I drank it all. Like, it's gone. He's like, or a little bit.
There's like a little bit left at the bottom and he's like so high and like out of his mind that she can't even talk to him.
Yeah. Something like that. But like,
and then she grabs
this guy like wrapped it up.
Yeah. He's like, here you go. He's a little vial. It's probably good for one person. So have fun. And she's like, the fuck? So she grabs it. She goes home.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, well, what are we going to do with this tiny little amount of blood? You were supposed to give me more. And they talked about taking something called a moon bath, which basically means like you have to like expose yourself under the full moon. By this point,
guys, I'm gonna be honest, by this point I was so fucking confused because I felt like they had 4 different attempts to do like to get their powers back, whatever the hell they're trying to do in the first place, which I forgot. Like, there were so many attempts at like the same thing and they kept failing. And I'm like, how many more things are they gonna try? Like, I'm getting lost in the episode. Like,
I know.
I got to this point and I was like, wait, what are they trying to do? Like, I forgot.
Right. It is a lot of things happening in one episode.
I'm like, we're not done yet, guys. There's still like a lot more.
And it's still, and that's the thing, they're still stuck at the same part the entire time. So anyway, they're like, okay, well, we're gonna have to turn this like tiny vial of blood into like an essential oil, essentially. Get everybody to rub it all over their skin. Then we got to lie down and just like hope for the best outside. And I was like, this is like moon power. It's like literally Sailor Moon. They're like, the power of the moon is going to give us powers.
So wait, they're going to rub essential oil on themselves to attract the moon, and the moon will restore their powers.
Yeah. So it's the whole idea of the fact that like it's blood from a celestial being, and it's the light and energy from something that is celestial, like the moon. The moon is like in space, so they're like it'll activate it or whatever.
Right.
And this is a cute little moment where Zelda turns around and she thanks Hilda and Sabrina after her big rant of them not being helpful. She does, like, Zelda does turn around and be like, thank you guys both so much for figuring this out, like, I appreciate it. And then this is when Hilda's like, oh, by the way, Harvey was looking for you. And Sabrina's
she's like, okay, whatever.
She's like, I can't even talk about that right now.
Yeah.
Like, I can't even look at them because I just walked in on my man getting like BDSM'd all over his face.
Priorities, people.
She's like losing it. And the funny thing that killed me was she's talking to Hilda. She's like, I don't know. Like, I think something really bad happened to Nick.
Her reaction was so weird. Like,
I was like,
again,
no shit, man.
Like, he was full out cheating on you. Again, her reaction to me, I feel like she's like a little girl. She was more confused. She was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And not like, bitch, are you cheating on me? Like, that's the reaction I wanted out of her. And that's not what we got. She was like, I didn't understand what they were doing with the handcuffs in the dark. What do they do there? Like, girl, wake the fuck up. He's cheating on you. Like,
yeah. But not only that, she's just like, the fact that she just came to the realization that he's been traumatized over this experience with her dad.
Too. Yeah,
I'm like, girl, obviously, like, he was getting fucking fucked up for like a whole like month or whatever with her dad.
Yeah.
And it's probably because like he had to do anal with the devil. Like, let's be real. That's exactly what it was. So cut into the forest. We have to talk about this moment for a quick second.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, yeah.
It's like
the Hare
Easter,
moon.
Easter, Hare moon, Hare moon. Everybody's like singing.
Everyone's singing. Like, this was the weirdest like musical performance I've ever experienced in like this Riverdale world. It wasn't Cherry Bomb. It wasn't like
wasn't anything.
A Josie song. Yeah. It was like, hello, we are carrying these flower magic. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Also, can we quickly talk about the fact that there was literally subtitles that popped up at the bottom of the screen as if they wanted us to sing along?
Totally.
What was this fucking karaoke version of this whack song? It wasn't even a song that anyone would have ever known. No. It's like a random song.
I was like, wait, like, should I know this? Like, I was offended. I was like, was this like a Catholic song? Like, what's going on here? I feel like I'm like being targeted right now.
So... And on top of that, they're all wearing like these like very ritually like white outfits.
It's like communion in the forest. It's like, essentially.
But I also kind of got the movie Midsummer vibes.
Oh yeah, totally.
Like with the crown of flowers.
Yeah.
But
what were they trying to do here again? What were they like? Were they trying to like bless the moon or like bless the essential oils?
I think this is like the beginning of the Hare Moon ritual. So it starts off with all of them just kind of like hanging out. I don't think they had to sing to do the ritual.
And then they were like dancing in the background. Like they were like line dancing with like Ambrose and Prudence in the background, like hopping to each other. I'm like, what? Is this like a choreographed like dance?
Yeah,
like you guys planned this shit out. Like, guys, your coven is literally dying. There is no time for this.
They're like, we're doing what we can. We got to do this dance
They're like
and this song.
having a picnic.
So within this moment, she gets like a literal rabbit, like a hare, and like she has to take it into the woods. But this bitch isn't stopping singing. Like she's singing right into the woods.
I will take you somewhere, and it's so happy. And then like it got to like fucking like 40 of these weirdos in like their masks, like staring at her. I'm like, all right.
It was so scary. It was such a creepy moment.
Yeah, it was so creepy.
So she drops the hair down because that was what she was supposed to do. As she like goes up, she looks up and like there's all
she's
these
like,
people.
Hey guys, you guys here like, for the cookies?
Do you want to join in our dancing and singing? We're having a little concert in the woods. Would you like to join us? So anyway, whatever. So she sees them.
And then she runs back.
She runs out. She's like, guys.
Tell them in time. Like no one is listening. Everyone is still like, we are in the forest with the animals. She's like, guys. They're here. And the guys are already like there behind them. I'm like, this is why your powers have been taken away from you guys.
They're fucking idiots.
You're shitty witches.
Even Nick, he shows up so late. He's like, hey, I'm here now.
He's like, I had to get a white t-shirt. Like, sorry, my bad.
That doesn't have like sex all over it. So already he's trying to like make up for what Sabrina saw, but he doesn't know how to even like talk to her at this point. And yeah, all these people are coming through the woods. She's like, yo, like there's some other people here. And it is really creepy. Like they're all coming from like the mist and like.
Did you know it was the Carnies?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, who else could it have been at that point? But at the same time, it was more just like they're that aggressive. Like they're not even like disappearing. Because I thought right away that as soon as they saw her, that they were gonna like dip.
Yeah.
But
because what was gonna be their plan? Like if they weren't in the forest having a freaking picnic, what were they gonna do to the coven? You know, like
right.
Like where were they gonna go? Where were they just walking through the forest in their masks?
Well, she does say like or he does admit later, I don't know if this is true or not, but he was like, we were doing a ritual too. You were just like, you guys just kind of got in our space or whatever.
Yeah, true.
So anyway, really quickly before we cut back to the forest, cuts to Harvey and Theo, and at this point in time, Roz is like pretty much solid. Like she's
like freezing up.
Yeah, she's freezing up, but they still don't know what's happening.
That
like
blanket didn't help, clearly.
Blanket did not help. No heated blanket was able to help her out of the situation. So then it cuts back to the forest. And yeah, so right away he's like, oh, we were just out here trying to do our own ritual. And then Zelda's like, cool. Did you want to maybe join us? Or what are we going to do here? Because we're also doing our ritual. So they invite them to have this like picnic with them, basically. But the one thing that I will say is Robin is not anywhere to be seen.
Right.
So the one and only time that all these carnies are coming and he's a part of that carny family, he's not there. So obviously like Sabrina's never going to be able to like rat him out. Anyway, as they're about to start graze, Zelda says something, or one of the kids say something about like, oh, are we going to say our prayer to Lilith? And they turn around. They're like, you're praying to Lilith now? And that's when things start to get like really weird, because the pagans start to realize that something's wrong with this coven. Like there's something wrong.
Yeah.
And Zelda's kind of trying to sniff them out too, be like, so what's your situation? And they're like, we don't pray to Lilith. We don't we pray to like something different.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to like different kind of like scenes within
like the characters kind of like eyeing each other up and down.
Right.
And like assessing each other. And then like, the snake lady was like on fire.
Yeah. So the snake lady's hanging out and talking to Sabrina and Nick, and they're just like having wine or whatever. And it's such an awkward moment because Sabrina and Nick at this point in time have not discussed anything. Yeah. And this woman is like grilling them. She's like, so you guys haven't had sex yet, eh? Like you guys are like full out virgins.
Sniff,
eh?
sniff. She's like, you smell like sex. Dirty sex. And Sabrina's like, She's like, poor girl.
You little virgin.
I was like honestly, this woman like sniffs sex like from everyone. That's all she says.
She's a freak. I know, right? She's like a pervert.
She's like a pervert.
And so Zelda talks to like the main guy, and she's like, so like, what's your plan? Like, what are you planning to do here? And he's like, well, normally we just kind of like hang out and then we like dip, but we like may stay. Like, it's kind of chill here. Like, we kind of like it here. Yeah. And so she's just trying to suss out like what's going on with them. Then it cuts to Hilda talking to the fortune teller lady, the one that Miss Wardwell was talking to. And it's a really weird interaction, and I kind of felt bad about it. And I was like, this is going to go so south so fast, but I don't want it to, because like Hilda is the coolest one. Like she's the nicest one. But basically she sees like a spider on the floor, and she picks it up and she's like, oh, look at this little spider. And the woman's like, what do you know about spiders? You don't know anything about how they feel, or do you keep them as pets, or like what do you do?
You know what I hate? You know what I hate most in shows is when I can't pinpoint an accent. And that's
why do you think
lady.
I just did that accent?
I was like, I don't get her accent. Like, who is she trying to be? Like, where are you from? I'm sorry, like I didn't catch that. Yeah, like, it was really annoying.
Yeah. So
and she's like all attacking Hilda, which annoyed me even more. I'm like, bitch, leave her alone.
She's being, because she does say, she's like, I have like a familiar, which is, and they're spiders, and the woman takes it completely wrong. She's like, I'm from PETA, and you shouldn't treat them like animals or whatever.
Well, apparently, like I didn't know this, but like pagans are like known to like their god is like the earth. Yeah. So like they respect everything in Mother Nature, and so she was like, put that spider down.
It's like, you don't even understand how they feel. And Hilda's just like, okay. So as she's like talking to Hilda, like Hilda doesn't even do it. Like if Hilda killed the spider, I'd be like, okay, well, like maybe that would have pissed her off. But she's literally like holding it and like petting it and being so nice to it. And this woman's like puts a full fucking curse on her. She like touches her foot and she's like, blah, 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 arachnids. Yeah. Like she basically turns her into a spider essentially. And I'm just like, fuck, now she's gonna get fucked up or something. So, and of course, Hilda's completely innocent in all this. She has no idea what's going on. Anyway, then it cuts to both of the groups basically at this point have sussed each other out. So it shows the pagan witches talking about the coven, and they're like, oh, well, this coven is like weird, but there's still a coven, but it sounds like their powers might be like kind of fucked up. So it might be an opportunity for us to like jump on this situation. And then on the flip side, the coven, like led by Zelda, is talking to Sabrina and Ambrose and Hilda. And she's like, yeah, these are pagan witches. They're usually like random people. This one seems like kind of like on the outskirts, like their own independent group. Like they're not like special by any means, but she's like, but they are tricky because they take their power from like the old school way of things to do. And it's funny because I know that you mentioned American Gods last episode. But this episode was like even more apparent that whole pagan old gods. I know you even said offline that they're literally celebrating their version of Easter.
Ostera, which is like which was what they were doing Easter in American Gods. Yeah. Yes. So it was just like that whole mythology is kind of just, you know, being played in this show as well, which is really cool. Because if you can connect them, then it's like, oh, you're like, oh, I kind of like, I know that now.
The history. Cool. Yeah. So they're like, okay, well, maybe we can stop them by putting rain. Like maybe they can leave if we like do a rain spell. So they try to do a rain spell, which was kind of random. And sure enough, the whole sky goes dark. But because their powers are shit right now, the rainstorm disappears like in 5 seconds because they're too weak. And at that point in time, like the leader of the pagan god, like the pagan people, like looks over and he sees them trying to do the spell. So they're like, these motherfuckers are like being tricky. Then it cuts to Dorcas and Nick talking on the side tip, and obviously Nick is just like in his feelings, and Dorcas is like, hey Nick, I heard that you like have sexy issues, like I heard that you're having sex with sex demons. And Nick's like, get away from me, I don't want to talk to you right now. And as she's like seducing him or trying to talk to him, a snake comes by and bites her on the ankle, and Dorcas is like, I'm dying. And so she's on the floor, she's freaking the fuck out, and the snake lady literally like comes by. She's like,
come here, I want to suck your foot. She's like, I love this snake juice.
Yeah, ugh, so gross. So she like sucks it from her like foot, and that's when like this all shit fucking hits the fan. So basically, Nick thought it was a great idea, so they help out Dorcas, and she's like back to normal. Nick fucking comes back 5 minutes later, and he's like, don't worry, I killed the snake, it's all good. They show the fucking snake and it's like literally ripped in half.
She's like freaking out, and they're like, fuck you guys.
They're like,
we're
what
PETA.
The fuck?
Yeah, and that was
literally
it.
PETA.
Like the war is on.
So like they're like, you disrespected everything, I can't believe you did this. So then it cuts to the carnival, and last time we see Harvey and Theo and Roz, Harvey thinks it's a great idea to go back to the fucking carnival by himself with just a shotgun. So again, he goes by himself to this place to find out more information about this snake situation. He's like, I need to know what happened in that tent. So he goes in there with nothing but a shotgun, and I'm like, should you not know at this point in time that your fucking shotgun is useless when it comes to magic? Like, you know this is a magical situation. Why would you even try? So anyway, he's in there, he's rummaging, he's trying to figure things out, and he still can't find anything. But he does like uncover this statue of somebody like screaming basically. And he's like, uh-oh, Roz. And I was like, okay, well, she's going to turn to stone then, obviously. So then it cuts back to the forest, and Nick is pretty unapologetic, but he's also like very crusty about it. He's like, my bad, like I killed this snake, like what's the big deal? And everybody's just really cheesed about it, and the fact that he's not even apologetic about it, because he's like, I'm not gonna apologize to these motherfuckers, like I don't think I did anything wrong. And everybody's just,
I mean, he's kind of right. Like the snake did attack her, so what I'm thinking is that they were the snake to like instigate something, you know?
that is possible for sure. But at the same time, I'm like, I think that it was a whole idea of like, shit happens and you just gotta like let it like be.
But like, why did they cut to the snake's like POV? It was such a weird shot.
Yeah, then you're probably right. Maybe there was something that was instigated. Then again, you have to think. I was gonna say, maybe the Dark Lord had something to do with it, but he's like not. He's not in this situation. So,
but that would have been cool actually.
Because he's like the Snake King, no? Like, isn't he like?
Yeah,
Snake
is he?
Well, I feel like snakes are.
Oh
his
yeah,
jam,
you're right. Yeah,
no?
yeah.
Anyway, so he just gets really cheesed, and to the point where he's like, I don't feel like I need to apologize. I feel like I've done enough to protect this coven, because
he
like
freaks
he
out. Yeah, he basically
freaks
freaks
out. And so he storms off, and then Sabrina like runs off with him, and this is when Zelda's like, I detest teen angst. And so they want to bring this mooncake to the pagans so they don't like stay cheese, like as a peace offering basically. And so Dorcas is like, fine, I'll fucking do it. So she leaves, and Prudence says, Agatha, go follow her, because like she's a mess, like you gotta go take care of her too. So Agatha now is following Dorcas. Then it cuts to Nick and Sabrina, and this scene was fucked. Like I felt so sad. But basically Nick goes off and he's like, I'm disgusting. I'm polluted. I'm like, I feel dirty. Like something's inside of me. And it's just like, I don't feel right. And Sabrina just keeps saying like, you've been through so much trauma. Like it's just PTSD. Like it's not a big deal.
So she's kind of forgiving him in this moment, right? Which was really like, you know, that's who Sabrina is, right? She has like this huge heart, and she's trying to see past everything.
Right.
And I think she even says like, don't worry, like we'll fix it or whatever. Like, you know, like you're just kind of like hurting. He's like, I can't even look at you. He's like, when I look at you, I see your father. I'm like,
it gets
like
really,
that
really
is like
intense.
Because like, you can't go back on that.
She does finally say, she's like, just tell me what happened. And he's like, well, for one, I fucking went to hell. I was being embarrassed. Like I was fighting with your dad on the inside of my body. On the outside of my body, I was fucking being embarrassed by
but here's the thing, though.
Madam Satan.
Yeah, but here's the thing. And that whole time now he's blaming her, right? He's trying to put that whole blame onto her.
Yeah.
But it wasn't her choice for him to become the carrier of the devil. He was like, I'll volunteer as tribute.
Yeah.
So why the hell is he blaming her now? Like, yes, we know that you've been through shit. 100%. She doesn't know that. But it also wasn't her begging you to do that in the first place. You were the one that volunteered to do that.
For sure. 100%. When he says, at one point in time, he says, like, you let me sacrifice myself for you, and you weren't even worth it. And I was like,
she didn't let you. You did it. Like she didn't. That's what I mean. Like he put so much power on her, and I get it because he's hurt and whatever. But like, be a man and like own up to it and just say, I fucked up. I made the wrong decision, but now I can't fuck you anymore. So goodbye. Like just say it like that. Don't like blame the girl because she didn't make you do anything.
No, exactly. But I think that because he feels like he's not getting what he like. He's just like, he's angry. I think that he's just losing his mind a little bit too. Yeah. Like he's just like going fucking crazy. So yeah, he blames her, and it was really, really hard.
But you know, that
Sabrina's
was
just
needed.
absorbing all of
that
this.
scene was definitely needed because it had to come to that.
Yeah. And he even says, like, he brings up like the sex situation about the fact that she's saving herself for someone else. And she's like, that's not even true. And I didn't even think about that. I was like,
that was fucked. Cause like, he's like, and I can't even like, basically in other words, he's like, I can't even like fuck you, or like, we can't even do that.
Yeah.
And he's like, cause I know you're saving yourself for someone else, and we both know it. And she's like, what?
She's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. So that was kind of awkward. Anyway, so then he just dips because he's just like, I can't. And I felt so bad for her because she just like got basically verbally abused.
Yeah. It was bad.
It was really intense.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to Dorcas and Agatha, and they're walking to the pagans. And at one point in time, Agatha like hears something in the forest, and so Dorcas just keeps walking, and Agatha follows the sound, and she sees the fawn that we saw like earlier. It's like the main leader guy, and he's playing a flute. And in that moment, she's like, and then she just kind of like stays. And then it cuts to Dorcas, and she's kind of continuing her life through the forest. And as she's getting there, she also hears something. She stops in the middle of nowhere, and this like these snakes come out from behind the tree, and this woman's like, I'm gonna get ya. And she like, I don't know if she screams, but she basically like freezes, or I don't think you see what happens to her at that point in time. And the one thing that I will say, just as a really quick side note, Agatha and Dorcas looked fucking amazing in their outfits. Like,
yeah, everyone's outfits were so gorgeous, but I have to say Prudence's dress was like gorgeous. I love what she was wearing with like the hat and stuff.
Yeah. I just like, and the like, I loved like the sheer kind of vibe that they were giving. Anyway, that's just a quick side fashion note. But then it cuts to Nick and the Dark Lord. And so this is after the whole fight with Sabrina, whatever. And he's like, I'm going to fight you to the death. Like, this is ending tonight. I'm doing this right now. And the Dark Lord says, well, I can give you like drugs. Do you want some drugs to make yourself feel
he's like,
better?
one more thing. He's like, here's temptation. He's like, I got the red or I got the blue drink. Which one you want, son?
And he's like, you can drink the first one to make you like go up, and then you can like use the other one to like go back down. And it's like, oh my God. He like literally has like a full formula to like get him high. And he's like, I just need like one favor from you. And this is when Nick is like, I don't know. And then like, you don't really see what happens. Then it cuts to the forest again. And Prudence is like, where are my sisters at? Everybody's like, I don't know, like where your sisters went. And they're all about to do this bath because they're like, well, we just got to do this because now it's the full moon. So they all have like their little moon bath. They put their oil on and everybody's laying down and everything all cute. And
so are they getting the power at this point?
Yeah.
Like the power is starting to come onto them?
Yeah, and it's really cute because like Hilda's basically like going through like a guided meditation. She's like, so close your eyes. She's like, feel the energy of the moon go into your body, and they're all like,
and then like she's like glowing too because she's not lying down, but like she's like walking over them, and then she's like glowing. I'm like, oh shit, like she's getting that too.
Everybody's getting that. But what happened was
the carnies gotta ruin the fun.
Yeah, so as they they have the cake. So which means like Agatha obviously like delivered it, but she's like not in the picture right now. And they're like, they draw what looks like a eclipse on the cake. And their version of a thing looks like a lot more fun because they got to eat a cake out of all this. And I'm like a little jealous.
I'm so hungry.
They're going off and they basically turn the moon off. As they're eating the cake, the moon starts to disappear.
The moon,
yeah. And so already right away, everybody's like, what the fuck is going on? There wasn't supposed to be an eclipse. This must be the pagans.
Yeah.
And so they're like, okay, we're basically fucked now. We got to go home because like they're going to attack us. We literally have to run now. So really quickly, I think cuts back to Roz and Theo and Harvey, and Roz is literally turned into a stone at this point. Like she's KO'd. She is now like a marble statue holding this heated blanket that didn't do anything for her. So that's how their scene ends, with her frozen as a solid statue. Then it cuts back to the academy, and everybody's kind of just like replenishing, and they're about to go to sleep. They're like, okay, don't worry, we got this. They're about to go to sleep, and they see like fucking things moving in the beds, and they lift the covers, and it's all these like fucking snakes just like sliding around and shit all over the bed. So gross. But then they hear something on the outside, or someone calls in and is like, they're here, the pagans are here. So they run outside and they see like the whole crowd of them again wearing the masks. And basically they say, you have 3 days or something like that? Like 2 or 3 days to
make your decision. You better like pray to our God, like become like convert basically.
Or we'll kill you, essentially. Yeah. And it's one of the creepiest scenes because like they literally are like all in front of the academy, completely just like standing there. And there's like
fog, and like it's just like a weird quiet standoff, which is so eerie.
And then they like disappear into the cornfield, like they just like backwards disappear.
Yeah, they walked backwards.
They're like, bye bye. It's like that meme, the Homer Simpson meme.
Yeah.
And then they leave Agatha and Dorcas at the front door Agatha has gone crazy. She's just like doing like EDM dancing, and Dorcas is literally stone. Like she's turned into stone as well. So then it cuts back to the like Zelda and Hilda, and they're like, what are we gonna do? And I think this is when they decide, like, we have to let, as much as I don't want to do it, we have to let the Dark Lord out. He's the only one that's going to be able to stop this.
They need help.
Like we're gonna be in so much trouble, but we have to do this. Yeah. So they go downstairs, and sure enough, Sabrina's like, okay, it's time to go. Let me go talk to him, because like he's my dad. He might not be as angry.
Let me go talk to him. And I'm like, oh, here we go. Something's gonna happen.
She opens the door, and sure enough, Nick is like foaming at the mouth and ODing in the dungeon, and he's now locked up. Like he's in the handcuffs. So the
devil's out.
And the devil is literally gone. And I'm
Bye.
Like, great. Thanks a lot, Nick. You fucking idiot.
Yeah.
And that's
so. I wonder what he bargained him. Like, take this drug and let me out. And he must have agreed to it. That's so fucked. Like,
I'll let your pain go away. And I'm like, that's so tight.
Yeah.
Let's get into our recap roundups.
Best moment. My best moment, I think, is your best moment. So you take it away.
Yeah. So my best moment is that fight scene that they have in the woods where they're basically breaking up. Yeah. Nick and Sabrina are fighting. I just feel like it was such a real moment for him to see him express his pain, and also the acting of that guy, Gavin Leatherwood.
Yeah, it was.
He
good.
I felt like that was like a big moment for him to like take on that monologue and be like, you don't know how it was, how it's been. And I think it really does speak to people who like have been abused, have had like so much trauma in their life. I think he really like brought that forward, and I thought it was a really good scene to see. And it was just really sad to see, Sabrina have to like absorb all this negativity.
Yeah, because I feel like she's been so naive this whole time, and like, oh, everything's like hunky-dory, and like, let's go to the carnival and like have fun. And so it was like a huge slap in the face. Like, he's like, this is not okay. It's like your fault. And like, it was fully in her face. And like, how is she going to move forward? I'm like so excited to see that.
For sure.
WTF moment.
What was your WTF moment?
WTF moment, I think it has to be Roz being frozen, because by the end I thought for sure they would have solved it or like found some solution or something, but the episode ends with like her dead ass, she's like frozen, and I know that they're gonna save her. Obviously they'll have to save her, but I wonder if that will come with something. Like, I wonder if she will lose something because of this whole situation. There has to be some stake involved in this. You know what I mean? Like, it can't just be like, oh, like they're dead, and then like Sabrina brings them back to life. There's got to be a little bit repercussion or like a consequence to, letting this happen to her.
And maybe this all comes back to what you were saying in the very beginning, where she didn't say what she was supposed to say at the right time. So now this is kind of her like situation.
I think my like, if I was writing the show, I think I would go the way of like, the one time her friends really, really needed her, she wasn't there, and something happened to Roz, because they didn't even come to like check up on her. Like, that's the part that killed me. Like, they didn't even come to be like, okay, she's cold, all right, I'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah.
It was just like, sorry, can't come.
And that's the thing. The one thing that I will say about that specific dynamic is she's happy to like jump in when they're just having fun and playing music, and she's like, I need your help to go to hell right now. Like,
exactly.
Like, Sabrina always runs in and destroys their fun. So yeah, it is pretty tight that she's like, I can't even see them right now, I'm too busy. Like, I get that they're literally in a situation where they can't even help, but she doesn't even check in to be like, hey, how are things going? That was tight. But that could have been like an editing thing, but we'll see.
But
like,
again, I just hope that like at the end of this, there are some consequences to all of this. Otherwise, it's gonna feel so cheesy and like, oh, everything's like back to normal now.
No, that's a good point. Like, it shouldn't just be like, oh, this is like a fake repercussion. It should be like, there are really real high stakes. Like, she can die. You know what I mean? Or she loses something. You're right. Like, she loses something along the way. My WTF moment is gonna go to that moment where you see the pagan cult like come out of the woods.
That was crazy.
Because I was like, what the fuck? I did not expect any of that to happen. I knew that they were lurking, but I didn't think they were gonna be like these creepy, like animal mask wearing creepers, and the way that they directed it was really sketchy. Like, it really freaked me out.
For sure. MVP.
What was your MVP?
MVP, you know, this was hard. I've never had such a hard time deciding on who my MVP was gonna be, but I think this episode, everyone was sort of like on this even playing field, and no one really stood out. But I think the snake sex lady cracked me up because she was literally baiting everyone out on like their sex life and like how they smell like sex and like all this like shit. And I'm like, girl, you're killing me right now. So she's my MVP. That's all I could think about.
She'd be quick, right? My MVP is gonna go to Hilda, and I get what you're saying because like there wasn't any standout person that was specifically like killing it, because it feels like this is like a bit of a transitional episode or like a part one of a larger story. But I will say that I do love and appreciate Hilda because I don't think she ever does anything wrong. I feel like she's always just doing
she's
her
like
best.
the mommy.
Yeah, and also she did figure out how to like do the moon bath. Like she was able to like help out, even though Zelda was like coming down on her so hard. So I appreciated that about her.
For sure.
LVP.
Who's your LVP?
My LVP I'm gonna give to Sabrina because this bitch done forgot about her friends, the same friends that like come and help her for every single mission and like, you know, risk their lives. She didn't even go to check up on Roz. She didn't try to call. She didn't try to FaceTime. She didn't try to do nothing. So to me, she's the LVP. And on top of that, she wasn't really like, she was only doing what everyone was telling her to do, like hold the hair, do the moon thing. She's not like doing anything. Like she couldn't even get the freaking blood right. She got like a little sample size. So like she just didn't really, she's just following orders, you know?
Yeah, it's true. She wasn't very like active in terms of like, I got a plan, I'm gonna do something. And she didn't come through for her friends. Speaking of her friends, my LVP is gonna go to Harvey, and I know this is like, I don't know, the reason why I'm giving it to him is I just feel like he's just an idiot for thinking that as a human being he could get involved in these magical things. Like,
but also like, why did Roz go? You know, like she should have been smarter too. They should have just all been like, let's not go without Sabrina.
Let's not do that. It's true. I mean, I could understand Roz only because she has the cunning, but the cunning didn't fucking help her.
But that's the thing, like the cunning doesn't do anything. Like the cunning doesn't save you, you know? All the cunning is all the cunning is doing for her is like just like showing her something, but like she can't do anything with that vision. So fine, go look at what your vision is, but like if you can't act on it or protect yourself, then don't get into a situation.
Right. And I think, again, going back to like what we were saying about how she didn't even speak about the fact that she probably saw a fawn in the beginning. Like, what were you doing at the carnival again, being like, I need to investigate to make sure that this is
because you already know something's off. You already saw him as like a mystical creature. So why would you go back for what answer? You already know something's up. Call Sabrina, go with your Ghostbusters, whatever, and then solve the freaking like mystery. Like,
exactly. Just stay out of trouble. And Harvey coming back and like having a shotgun. I'm surprised he didn't get attacked too. Like, he's an idiot. Sure. I was just like, dude, stop trying to like play this like machismo, like macho man. I gotta go save my girlfriend.
But that's and but I do respect him in that sense too. But like play useless. It smart, buddy.
Yeah.
The best line.
What was your best line?
My best line is from Hilda when she's talking to Zelda, and she goes, yes, it is lunacy, as in pertaining to the moon. Lunacy. It was just cute.
She's cute. Yeah, they give her really fun lines.
Yeah.
My line is gonna go to Sabrina. She says it earlier on the episode where they're trying to figure out what to do with this power, and she goes, I'll ask Lilith. She knows all the tea. And I was like, okay.
Okay, you're like, cute. You're
okay,
cute.
2020. Come through with your language, your lingo. That is the end of the episode, guys. Let us know what you guys thought about it in the comments below. Before we finish off this episode, I just have a few announcements. Like I said earlier, we have our contest going on right now for a chance to win $50 Amazon gift card and a pop socket. To enter, just rate, comment on our iTunes page, and you'll be entered in the draw. We are extending this contest to the end of Riverdale season 4, so that's mid-April. So you have a little bit of time to enter. I'd like to also take this time to thank our patrons of the episode, our Rewinder squad, White, Nicole, Faith, our Lit Rewinders, Tina Ann, Sarge, Serena, Slay, Kate, and Jessica, and our Mommy Rewinders, Becca, Sarah, Tamala, and Grace.
Thanks, guys. And if you would like to join our Patreon family, check us out at patreon.com/recap_rewind. If you join, you get access to all things Recap Rewind, exclusive content, and updates.
And also make sure you guys are checking us out on all of our socials: Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. And also you guys can find us on Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iTunes. Like, subscribe, follow, review, and comment, and let other people know about us to stay engaged with us at Recap Rewind. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.